All right, welcome. Today, we're going to get into the hidden architecture of our relationships. Those invisible blueprints that kind of dictate how we connect, how we fight, and yeah, how we love. And it all really kicks off with one simple but super frustrating question.
This is a question that can drive us all a little crazy, right? You know that feeling. You and your partner, you're in that same frustrating loop, the same argument again. And you're just wondering, how did we even get here? It's exhausting, and honestly, it can feel a little hopeless. But what if? What if it's not actually about who's right or who's wrong?
Well, the thing is, the reason for these cycles usually isn't some big flaw in you or your partner. It's often this invisible force that's at play, a hidden pattern that we're all running on. So what we're going to do is move beyond blame and really start a journey of discovery. Let's figure out what's really going on beneath the surface.
So what exactly is this invisible force? Well, it's what we call your attachment blueprint. The best way to think about it is like it's your internal operating system for all your relationships. And it's not something you consciously chose, not at all. It's more like a program that got installed way back in your childhood, based on your very first experiences with care and connection.
In this blueprint, it quietly shapes everything. Seriously, how you show affection, how you read your partner's actions, and especially how you react when you're feeling stressed or disconnected. It's basically the why behind all of your relationship habits.
Okay, to make this a little more concrete, let's try a metaphor. I want you to imagine that your attachment blueprint is your own personal dance style. So when the music of a relationship starts playing, you instinctively fall into your usual set of steps. The real question is, what are those steps? And maybe just as important, do they match your partner's?
So it turns out there are 4 main dance styles, or attachment styles, that researchers have pinpointed. As we walk through them, just see if you can recognize your own go-to moves, especially when things get a little tense.
Okay, first up, we have the anxious style. Now, someone with this style really craves intimacy and closeness. That feeling of connection is what makes them feel safe. But deep down, there's this nagging worry that their partner might not actually be there for them when they need them. And that creates this constant, almost desperate need for reassurance.
So you can imagine when a conflict pops up, that fear of abandonment just kicks into high gear. They might start to pursue their partner, wanting to solve the problem right now. And sometimes this can come across as criticism, or they just get totally flooded by their emotions. They might even use what experts call protest behaviors, which are basically actions designed to get any kind of reaction, just to pull their partner back in, even if that connection is a negative one.
All right, next up is the avoidance style. This dancer values their independence and self-sufficiency more than anything. See, they learned early on that relying on other people can be, disappointing or even risky. So their core belief is basically, I've got this on my own. And for them, too much closeness can actually feel pretty suffocating.
So, no surprise here, when a conflict starts, the avoidance style's first instinct is to create distance. They might shut down completely, withdraw emotionally, or just dismiss the problem, acting like it's no big deal. Now, to their partner, this can totally look like they don't care. But for the avoidant person, it's a safety strategy. It's how they manage what feels like overwhelming emotion and get back to feeling safe by retreating into themselves.
Okay, our third style is the fearful avoidant, which you might also hear called disorganized attachment. Now, this is by far the most complex dance. It often comes from a childhood where the source of safety, your caregiver, was also a source of fear. So you can see the deep internal conflict here, right? This person desperately wants that closeness, just like the anxious style, but they also have that deep-seated fear from the avoidance style that getting close is just going to lead to getting hurt.
And because of this constant internal push-pull, their behavior in a conflict can seem, really unpredictable. One minute, they might be chasing after their partner, trying to connect, and the next, they can suddenly flip and withdraw, pushing that very same person away. It's a really confusing and honestly a painful dance for absolutely everyone involved.
And finally, we have the secure style. And really, this is the foundation that we can all aim for. Someone with a secure blueprint is comfortable with both closeness and independence. Their core belief is just rooted in a solid sense of self-worth and a basic trust that their partner is reliable. They've learned from experience that it's actually safe to depend on other people.
And when it comes to conflict, the difference is just night and day. Instead of reacting from a place of fear, the secure style is able to stay pretty calm and be constructive. They don't see conflict as a threat to the whole relationship. They see it as a problem to be solved together. Their main goal is to connect with their partner and find a way forward that works for both of them.
Okay, so all this theory is great, but let's see how these styles actually play out in a real-life, everyday kind of situation. We'll call this scenario the late night.
So the trigger is super simple and really common. We're not talking about a major betrayal here, just a small break in that expected connection. So one partner is working late, they're super focused, and they just forget to text. That's it. Now, how do our different dance styles react to this exact same event?
For the anxious partner waiting at home, that silence is deafening. Their internal alarm bells start ringing. They don't care, and they feel this huge wave of anxiety and rejection, which leads to that flurry of texts. Meanwhile, the avoidant partner, if they're the one working late, is probably just focused on their task. If they're confronted later, they'd likely see their partner's reaction as over-the-top and clingy, just not getting what the big deal is.
All right, now let's look at the secure response. Remember, it's the exact same situation. The trigger is identical. A partner is late and there's no text. But the internal processing, it's on a completely different planet.
So, the secure partner, they notice the time. They might feel a little flicker of concern, sure, but their internal operating system doesn't immediately jump to the worst-case scenario. Their default assumption is positive. They think, they must be really swamped. My partner is reliable, there's got to be a good reason. So they send one calm, connecting text, and then they just go about their evening. No drama, just trust.
So the whole point of this, the really crucial thing to get, is that this is not about labeling yourself or your partner as good or bad. The goal is just awareness. Understanding your dance style and understanding your partner's, that's the powerful first step. It's what allows you to change the music and maybe learn a new, more connected dance together.
And look, if you take just one thing away from all of this, let it be this: no style is bad. Your attachment style, whatever it is, was actually a brilliant strategy that your younger self came up with to navigate your world and to get your needs met. It literally helped you survive. It is not a flaw. It's a part of your story. And the good news is, it's a part that can be understood and even updated.
And that brings us to our final thought. If you want to start this work, if you really want to understand your own blueprint, maybe start right here. Sometime today, just take a quiet moment and really reflect on this question. As a child, how did your caregivers respond when you were upset? Were you soothed? Were you told to just stop crying? Were your feelings met with anger, or were they just dismissed? The answer to that, well, it holds the key to the very first steps of your dance, and it might just be the beginning of finding a more secure and fulfilling connection for yourself.